Hi, I'm Rick Christie, the editorial page editor at the Palm Beach Post, and I'm here at the Supervisor of Elections office and one of our early voting sites with our Supervisor of Elections, Susan Bucher, and our editorial writer for the Post, Howard Goodman. And we were thinking that with the last few days of early voting for the August 30th primary coming up, and we're in it now, and possibly a storm bearing down on us, that we ought to talk about trying to get people to early vote now, and also to ask our elections chief here what she may be planning, or what they do when possibly a storm is coming in that could interrupt the voting. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Well, first, what I want to say is that we have 15 early voting sites open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. through Sunday, August 28th. And anybody can go to any one of those early voting places and present a current picture signature ID. They'll print you a ballot, you can vote, and you will be done. So if we do have a storm coming and it hits us on Tuesday, don't get wet. Come out to early voting, no lines, no waiting, until Sunday. And we've seen a steady clip of people coming in the last couple of days. In fact, yesterday we exceeded the number of total early voters that we had in 2012 during the primary presidential. So we're very pleased with that, but we still need your vote. We have a lot of people that are out there. They have vote by mail ballots, and we've sent out over 115,500. We only have about 40,000 left.
Well, I've got
there is still time to send one in. Unfortunately, the deadline to request an absentee ballot was last night at 5 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And so that request time is over. So now you either have to early vote or you have to come to your polling location on election day. We have contingency plans for the weather.
Yes.
Right now we have deployed all of our voting machines to 461 locations, and so we feel pretty confident that they're not located in one place.
Okay.
If one place is impacted, then we have replacements, and we would move that polling location immediately if it flooded or something happened. But even if we lose power, and we've been in contact with the Secretary of State yesterday, and he issued a press release today. We've been in contact with our emergency center over across the way, and we've also been in contact with FPL. I just want to assure the voters that even if the power goes out at your polling location, we have many iPads, they will hold power, and we also have they'll be able to give you a ballot on election day. You'll be able to vote it, and then they'll put it in an emergency slot in the ballot box, and two political different party poll workers will then later, when we do get power, they'll send it through the scanner and count your vote. So remember, we have paper ballots, and we have great ability to make sure that we're accurately and efficiently counting every vote. So we don't anticipate any polling locations to go down, but if that would happen, there would be either a person or a big sign directing you to the nearest location where you've been reassigned. And if you have any questions, please call us 561-656-6200, or go on our website, pbcelections.org.
Boy, that was pretty good.
Man,
it almost left me with, you almost left me with no questions. What is, I'm kind of always been curious, what is like one of the main things that you want people to pay attention to? Like Howard says, he's still filling out his absentee ballot, Howard. But what is one of the main things that you think we ought to pay attention to when they're sitting down and do this? Because they're like common things that people do wrong, I'm guessing. So what is it that you would, if you were to tell somebody, look, make sure you do this when you're filling out?
Well, if you're voting at home, then the way that we vote is you connect the head and the tail of the arrow. So you have to draw a straight line. It doesn't have to be really thick, but it has to be a straight line. And in every case, it says vote for one. And so a lot of people pick several candidates, and we don't want you to do that.
That's the famous overcount.
Yes, it is. It's an overvote. If you pick too many candidates, then your vote for that race wouldn't count.
And voters did that like crazy in 2000.
They always do.
Yeah.
So
they always do it in every election.
Want you to know you can only vote for one person, and this year there's a couple of unique races on your ballot, and they are universal primaries. And so there is a public defender race that's on everybody's ballot because there's only 2 Democrats on that list. And then if you live in Senate District 29, you will see 2 Democrats, and every voter has that on their ballot because they do not face a different political party opponent. So some people are confused and thinking they got the wrong ballot, but they really got the right ballot. They're entitled to vote for that
Even
this
the
year.
Republicans
Yes,
can vote for
Republicans and minor parties, no party affiliation. And the last thing we want to remind the voters about is that there is a very important ballot question on your ballot over here. And so read the ballot question. It has to do with solar, and I want people to vote all the way down the ballot and complete your ballot. If there are a couple of races that you're unfamiliar with, you're allowed to skip them. But I would recommend that you go on the computer or look at the newspaper and try and figure out a way that you can determine who you want to vote for.
Now, do I sign?
If you want to see our information in terms of, let me say that go to www.mypalmbeachpost.com /2016 endorsements and see the editorial board's suggestions as to who you should vote for. But more than anything else, information about those specific races and those individuals to help you with whoever you decide to vote for. So we would recommend, again, www.mypalmbeachpost.com /2016 primary endorsements. All right. And another question that I've been getting from some people as well.
Well, I have
okay,
this
go
question.
ahead.
Okay, after you're working this at home and you filled out the ballot, and then at the end you do have to sign that once
you place your ballot in the envelope. It is required that you complete your signature. Your signature has to match the signature that we have on your voter registration form. And so if your signature is really old, you could have updated your signature until we started canvassing ballots. Unfortunately, that deadline was Monday at 2 o'clock. And so if your signature doesn't match, we're going to send it to the canvassing board. They're going to try and match it. And if it's impossible, then after the election, you would get a letter with a new registration form asking you to update your signature. We're not able to open your ballot if your signature doesn't match. If you forget to sign the ballot and you mail in your ballot or you bring it, then you can look online at voter information lookup on our website, pbcelections.org, and there is an affidavit that you're allowed to sign up until 5 p.m. the day before the election, and you can get it to us along with a copy of your picture signature ID. Then we can match it up to the blank signature envelope and actually open your ballot. That's a new law.
There's one of the questions also we've been getting is asking about, people have been asking me about state committeemen. Can you explain what that is a little bit? I mean,
yes, every 4 years during the presidential primary that we're having on August 30th, the political parties run for a position being a committee person, either the Democrat or Republican committee person, and there's one allowed per precinct. There's no Republican races because the Republicans worked it all out and they don't have races. There are 5 or 6 races on the ballot that represent Democratic precincts. In some of the cases, there's 5 candidates that are on the ballot running against somebody else that have withdrawn. So look for the notice on your polling station when you go vote the ballot, or look for the notice in your ballot by mail. And we are noticing voters now, but they withdrew pretty late, so their name is still on the ballot. So it'll be posted in all of the polling locations that are applicable.
All right.
And these are only in certain precincts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the post, we didn't make any recommendations in those areas because we don't really, we just don't get involved in those races. So if you're looking for those from the post, they won't be there.
Yeah, I would recommend that you look at your party's webpage, and they've made recommendations. But we've had a steady clip of voters here all day, and we expect that that's going to continue, particularly because everybody knows there's a storm coming. And so we've been on the news since yesterday, and we contacted the Secretary of State, and we had a discussion about emergency contingencies. So we're pretty confident that we have everything under control, but we do, want people to miss the storm. So we want you to come out and early vote. We're open 10 to 6 every day. And there's 15 locations. They're geographically from Jupiter down to Mocha and out to Belglade. And so wherever you are, you can go to any one of them. And we're hopeful. Yesterday we exceeded the number of total early voters that we had in 2012. So it tells me as of yesterday.
Wow.
And so we still have until Sunday to early vote. So we're hoping that the rain misses us on Sunday. We're looking forward to a healthy Souls to the Polls. We have some African American ministers and we have some Haitian ministers that have said that they were going to come and bring big crowds, but only in the afternoon. So if you want to early vote on Sunday, come in the morning. They usually don't get out of church until about 2 o'clock. And so then I think we're going to, if it's not raining, we'll see a rush of customers.
Okay.
Susan, the primary often has low turnout. Can you tell from this early voting what this year's turnout is?
Well, so far the impact looks to be about 20%, which is really sad because a lot of the races on your ballot are going to be decided in this primary.
Yes.
And people don't realize they all want to come out and vote for the president, and the last voter turnout in the general election in 2012 was 70%. This time, because of all the rhetoric that we see, we're hoping for about 80-85%, and that's what we set up for. And well, it looks like there's a lot of interest, but unfortunately, people are not as educated about the primary, and so what that does is it gives a weighted factor to your vote in the primary. Your vote is very valuable and very important in the primary because we don't have a lot of them. But what people don't realize is that some of the positions on the ballot during the primary will be decided in the primary, and these are the things that impact your quality of life every day. There's a possibility that the county commission seats that are up are going to be decided.
Judicial races?
Judicial races, the 3 constitutional offices that are on the ballot.
Including your own?
Including my own.
Okay.
And so hopefully after August 30th, those positions will have been filled and they won't appear on your November ballot. So it's vitally important that you take a look at your ballot and vote for the candidates that you believe most closely represent you. But find out about the candidates, find out by the recommendations that the Palm Beach Post made, and make sure that you vote your ballot accordingly.
All right, well, thank you.
Well, it's interesting to think that proportionally your vote actually counts for more in the primary than it does in the
It really does, because we just don't have the same valuable voter turnout, and so it's really a more weighted vote in the primary than it is in the general. In the general, we expect, 600, 700,000 people out of our 868,000 voters to come out. And so we actually have set up for about 85%. And right now we deploy about 3,400 poll workers for the next Tuesday. On the November 8th election, we'll deploy about 4,000 people.
How are you doing in terms of getting poll workers for that general election? Because I know you've been looking for folks and everything. How are you guys doing in terms of getting people in?
Well, I think we're very well situated. Right now we have, we've filled all of our positions for Tuesday, and we have about 60 backup people. We work with Palm Beach County a lot, and they give us some of their employees, about 150. And then we also went out very largely in the Haitian community and recruited a lot of Creole speakers. We have Spanish speakers, and so we feel like we're pretty well set going forward. We're kind of trading poll workers out at early voting, and we had 2 weeks of early voting because it's a good dry run to the November election. We have new early voting poll workers, and we're thinking that it's a good investment to work them this time so that they're all set and ready to go in November.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming out here and talking with us and updating our readers.
You can see that there's been activity at the office. There's a lot of signs.
It is busy. It is busy. It seems like.
It's been busy for a week and a half. More signs than people.
Oh man. Well, I saw that when you came over, you had to have a discussion too. I wondered if you had to have a discussion with some people about being too close to your poll. I mean, is that a common thing? Or?
It's a very common
So what is the
thing.
law? The law is what?
The law is you have to be 100 feet from the entrance of a door of any polling location.
Okay.
And so, and that includes the press. But unfortunately, we have some overzealous campaigners, and unless you're really kind of paying attention, they kind of lead right up to the voter, and a lot of voters don't like to be accosted. So I'll tell the candidates straight out, if you're harassing your voters as they're going into the polls, the likelihood of them voting for you is probably pretty small.
Thank you. Again.
We have a comment from a viewer, Michelle Legg, wanted you to know to keep it honest.
Thank you. We always keep it honest. We're open and transparent. We have a record of counting every vote and attempting to count every vote possible. So come out and vote early and not often, but at one of the early 15 early voting locations, no lines, no waiting. Our people are waiting for you to come.
She says enforce those voting laws.
Absolutely. I know them extremely well. Thank you.
And personally, I can speak to the process in early voting. My wife and I early voted more than about a week ago, and all of 10 minutes. all of 10 minutes. The staff was efficient, knowledgeable. I have to tip my hat to you on that. It really was. It was a very good process for us as voters. So I hope that everybody takes advantage of this opportunity and early vote. Democracy in action. We love to see it. So get out here.
We have a question from Tom Manahan. He says, do we vote this weekend at our assigned voting areas?
No, you vote on Tuesday, August 30th at your assigned polling location, and that appears on your voter card. Every voter got a new voter card in June, and if you're not sure where that is, you can go to our website, pbcelections.org, and click on the top that says where do I vote, put your address in, and we'll give you the address of your polling place and a map to get there.
Yeah,
Wow.
it works.
Yes, it works very well.
Okay. All right.
But this weekend you can go to any of the
This
early
weekend
voting.
you go to one of the 15 early voting locations, and those are also on our website, pbcelections.org.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And that was, again, Rick Christie with Elections Chief Susan Bucher, Editorial writer Howard Goodman, and thanks you guys for joining us, and get out there and early vote.